What's up, guys? We're gonna get started here in just 1 second. Good seeing you in here. What's up, Trinity? We're gonna get started here 1 second. What is going on, y'all? Yeah, it's your Normie Sensei Master Kunch here in the Normies and Nerds Dojo. Look, we're gonna do a quick stream here about Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 4 reaction, just raw reaction. We're still gonna have a stream tomorrow. Well, I'm gonna have family in town, so it may be a little bit later tomorrow. But we are gonna have a stream tomorrow, just breaking down more of what we thought about the episode. But yeah, I just wanted to come in here today just to get my raw reaction to what we saw here, man. So we're not gonna be going out to the training grounds today. We're just gonna be staying here in the dojo and maybe go out to the final round location to hop in the comments. But yeah, first off, let me know what you think in the chat. What was or in the comments, what do you rate this episode? For me, this episode is about an 8. I could go up to 8.5. But that's just because I had high expectations for this episode. Yeah, I'm at about an 8, and there was still a lot of things. That's still a good number. There was still a lot of things in the episode that I liked, but there were some things in there that I was looking for that might not have really come to fruition. All right. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and get right into the talk here. So when I'm looking at episode 4, I talked about this before in the preview, in the preview stream. I was looking for episode 4 to really bring the action. I was hoping for episode 4 to really come forward, and we hadn't really gotten a lot of action in episodes 2 and 3. I mean, well, we got that great action scene in episode 2, so we hadn't really gotten a lot of action in episode 3. Just a lot of hand to hand. But I'm looking for that world, like the action that we saw in the trailer, on that tractor trailer scene. I'm looking for the action that we saw in the opening scene of episode 1. That's the type of things I'm looking for. That I was actually looking forward to seeing in episode 4. But really, is what stops this episode rating from getting less is just the way the plot moved forward. Um, so really, I'm loving the way the plot moved forward. Got a lot of things right here in that prediction. I was predicting that we were going to cross that all of these paths, these trainer paths, they were going to converge. So we had in episode 3 we had John Walker and Battlestar talking about they were going to be following Sam and Bucky, and then in episode 3 we also had Wakanda talking about they wanted to get to Zemo. All of those things were coming together to where they were going to meet up at once, and the Flag Smashers as well, to where everything crashed, where all these folks were in the same spot when it came to these incidents. So when I'm looking at when I'm looking at the instance where Wakanda and this what really came to me when the Dora Milaje and they all met up to capture Zemo, it went exactly how I felt it would go. I mean, except that I expected Zemo to get out, but I expected Zemo to get his hands a bit dirty there. But I loved the scene where that's what drives him to take that serum. So the way the Dora Milaje the way they handled John Walker to me was entertaining. I like that scene. I like the way they fought. It was very realistic, and even that scene where they kept John Walker stuck to his shield. Like that's the thing. Like the shield was keeping him down, was weighing him down. I think there's something symbolic there, and he had to get away from it. He had to kind of detach himself from the shield to be free. We get into maybe the meaning of that in the later video. But yeah, it was that action scene there to me was great, but I'm in the camp to where I feel like it could have been a bit more. Felt like it could have been a bit more, but I love just maybe a bit more of what drove him to take that super soldier serum. But at the end of the day, you gotta look at John Walker, this arrogant dude. He was like, they ain't even have the serum, so it's really bringing in that self doubt of they didn't even have the serum. I need that to level up. At the same time, it's interesting to juxtaposition him with Sam, because at the same time, we see Sam blatantly say with no hesitation that he would never take the serum. So that's an interesting way to juxtapose with Sam and his reaction, because Sam we don't see him get handled like we see John Walker get handled, and to what makes him want to take the serum. But that's what drives him to want to do it. So I like that. And again, Zemo got away, was expecting that. We are, I think, going to see Zemo again, because there are some scenes that we didn't see in the trailer. So maybe we'll see him again in episode 5. So there are some scenes that we see in the trailer that we haven't seen yet. So yeah, maybe we'll get to Zemo in episode 5 again. But that was the first thing that stood out to me, was just the Wakanda aspect of it and them coming together. Then also I do like how Zemo is again showing just how crafty he is. One, I'm thinking like, why would you leave Zemo in handcuffs? But Zemo is just very crafty. He's crafty in getting his information. He knows how to move. He knows, like I said, very charismatic. He knows how to get from place to place and get information in either setting. So I'm excited to see Zemo out. I just, the Wakandans went chasing after Zemo. So maybe that Wakandan arc here is over, and it's starting. I was on the bandwagon of T'Challa being that cameo, so maybe my T'Challa cameo expectancy is maybe down to like 30% here, which means my cap expectancy level could be up higher. But I'll get to that a little later as well. But look, talking about that, and then going into the Flag Smashers scenes here. Um, the Flag Smashers, they still need a bit of fleshing out to me, man. So like, we have Carly, and we get to see more of what, and with she's at the Mama Donia funeral. She's talking about she's talking about ways to move forward, and we can just see that coming. Like I feel like everything in this episode we can almost see coming. You can see Zemos getting away. You can see Zemo getting away. I can see that talk that he was trying to have with Carly not really going through the way that he wanted it to, but it was an interesting juxtaposition. And again, they're throwing in these racial things. They're throwing in these little uh, lessons that I think they're trying to portray to folks, and they're not hitting people over the head with it again. And I like the way they're continuing to handle that, whether it's just a subtle nods that are being given. Whether it's a conversation between Sarah and Carly, just those little nods. I was liking that a lot. But another note that I had here was just the Flag Smashers. I think just need a bit more. Like, are they willing to talk? That's the thing. Like, is Carly willing to settle down? Like, what did Sam see in Carly to be like? Yeah, she'd be willing to come and talk at the table with us, and she maybe be willing to negotiate. We can make a deal and come out of here without any bloodshed. What did he see there? Well, I think he saw that she was caring for folks. He understands her plight because this is something that happens in history all over again. And I like, the confirmation, like, yo, they were taken from their homes, and that's something huge. Millions of people were taken from the homes that they had over the last 5 years, and I assume those homes were given to the people that have blipped away. One, I know that had to be like a crazy like debate between world governments and leaders when that happened, to where it's like, no, they come back as their property. So Carly to me is like she is a revolutionary leader in the fact that she doesn't want to back away from her thoughts. She doesn't want to back away from her goals and her morals. That's what Carly is to me. Is someone who just wants to move forward. And I don't see like I'm just a bit honestly, she's a bit confusing as well because it's like she didn't seem like she'd be the type of person to sit there and talk with Sam and be able to get broken. You know what I mean? And it was a sense like Sam was getting through to her. I saw Carly as a grown woman before that, but Sam goes in there and talks to her like she's a child. And it seems to be that's what came out of her is that she is still a child when she was talking back and forth. That's not what I was really looking forward to see with Carly. I was really looking forward to her being like, taking more of a stance, not having John Walker having to come in and break that up. So yeah, that's what I got with the Flag Smashers. But this episode to me, the reason why it's like an 8 is that it didn't bring anything unexpected. So when I'm looking at Zemo, when they're fighting Carly and they're chasing Carly down, and she spills the super soldier serum after Zemo shoots her, which was very great. I think Zemo is still one of the great bright spots of this show. I mean, again, in this episode, Zemo outshined everybody. Maybe that's because of his acting, to be real. He just outshined everybody. And we see Zemo. One thing I didn't expect was Zemo to just abruptly just start to destroy those vials again. But we do that. It was great to see how he, I wasn't expecting it to happen this way of how John Walker was able to get his hands on the serum. But it was great to see how he was able to, how he did get his hands on the serum. And it was impacted, I think, not by somebody getting beat up as to why he wanted to take it. So it's good. It's maybe a good instance to see that he didn't take the serum out of rage from somebody getting beat up. He took the serum out of his fear of not being enough, of his fear of being inadequate. I like that aspect of it. That aspect to me was a good point to put in that, it's not because he wants to go out here and get revenge. It's not because he wants to, avenge getting beat up. It's because he just feels inadequate. He feels weak. And I like that element of it. I definitely like that element of it there. But just the execution of it all. I mean, would it have? You got to ask yourself the ways it could have brought this together. They could have had Battlestar get. Is Battlestar dead for one? I think Battlestar is dead, which is sad to see because they did a great job of building Battlestar up. I mean, I was kind of warming up to Battlestar. I mean, in the first episode that we saw Battlestar, in episode 2, I really wasn't that big of a fan of him. But in this episode, they made you really kind of start to like. I mean, at least I did. I kind of started to warm up to him a bit as someone who's just a different type of person than John is, and you kind of felt bad for how he was beat. You felt they made you feel the moment of when he was killed, and I'm thinking like, oh snap, he's about to go off. And this is one of the scenes where they really dropped the ball for me. And not to say that what they did wasn't great. I understand that they had to get the fight to be out in the open to where people could record, what John Walker did at the end there. So that's why, everybody kind of dispersed in a sense. But no, after that, we got to see John Walker go in. We have to see John Walker go in. He just took the super soldier serum. His man, his right hand man through all of his tours in Afghanistan just died. I want to see John Walker go in right then and there, not give time for anybody to run away. None of that stuff. I want to see them fight right there. And if you want to get his brutalness out into the open, have him kick somebody through a window out into the open and he goes down there and finishes them off. That's just where I was. That's just what was missing to me. Not just like I'm not trying to like shit on the episode, nothing like that. Like I said, it still gets an 8 for me. But it's just moments that I feel like they're missing that could have just hit so much more. So much more. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm looking for too much. Maybe it's another WandaVision situation where I wasn't hurt, and I'm still not hurt by this. It's just something where I feel like it could have been more, and I'm kind of explaining why it was an 8 to me. But I still like how the plot moves forward. To me, it's just the execution of it could have been done just a little bit better. But I'm not in those shoes. I'm not working with a budget. Who knows? Maybe they could have something great and bonkers planned for episodes 5 and 6. I just have to see it now because everybody talking about the budget, and then I'm on the same wave. They haven't used up. It feels like they haven't used up 30% of their budget yet. Like for real, it seems like they haven't used up that much of their budget yet to have all of these things come together. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments on that. Just where are we? I mean, where are you guys on the series right now and on that episode? Because to me, like I said, I was looking for more in this episode. That's just honestly me. I was looking for more action. Um, we got the action. I don't want to downplay those fight scenes, but I didn't see anything that was like, oh my god. And even like the comments that I'm feeling with John Walker, like, what's with the knives? Like, why is everybody in love with knives right now? Is that just the way to go? I mean, I know knives can be deadlier than bullets. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I ain't that green on the combat skills to know that knives can be just as deadly as bullets sometimes. But yeah, like, what's going on here? So last things last, so Zemo's away. We got that. Battlestar pretty much dead. Um, really, we didn't move that much forward with the flag smash. I mean, we know that she sees Sam as somebody that could be trusted because maybe Sam isn't acting like a hero in this sense, or maybe she knows that Sam understands how government can be bad for some folks. But we really didn't move that much forward with Sam or Bucky in a sense. Well, we did get to see Bucky get his arm dropped off, and that was interesting. But lastly, I just want to talk about my raw reaction to the last scene that we have, which is supposed to be the bombshell scene, and that is John Walker. Uh, this is going ham, bro. I love it. I love the callbacks that we have to when this is what separates them. Because if you're looking at what he was talking about in the scene with when Battlestar, they were talking about what the serum does. So he was talking about what the serum would do to um, what the serum did to Carly. Then he was talking about, well, look at what the serum did to Steve. It's because it magnifies what's inside of you. And it's interesting that Lamar Hoskins is the one that tells him, you would have made the right decision. You're the man that made the right decision. Imagine how many people we could have saved that day if you had the serum. And it's just ironic that even though he had the serum, John Walker's just not good enough. That's just what it seems like. That's what's probably in his head. He's like, I had the serum now, and still my people died. Still, Lamar Hoskins died. So that's where that rage comes from, and he proves them all wrong because he doesn't make the right decision in the heat of the moment. Lamar had that. Lamar was way off about his buddy. I don't know. Maybe Lamar would just want to blow smoke up his ass, but he was way off about his buddy, man, because his buddy was definitely wrong. Like you don't do that. Like you don't do that. You know what you're in. You know what suit you're in. You know what that shield means. So we see the incident, and I love the parallel that they have between him holding the is when he's holding the shield up and he's about to bash him in. You kind of have a thought of, is he gonna do what Steve did? Okay, so Steve, when he was fighting Iron Man, Steve could have done that. Steve could have ended Iron Man and put it down, and he could have killed him. But at the end of the day, he didn't. He just decided to mobilize him. So we see that line that's crossed right there, because that shows if he had let him stay alive, John Walker would be a Captain America type of character. If he didn't do that to him, spoilers, if he did not take his shield and bash him to death with it, John Walker would be a Captain America type character. He would have that type of moral thing to him. But here, what he does is just he crosses the line and he tarnishes the shield. He tarnishes that shit, and you just have to wonder how they're gonna move forward. And I think that scene there was put out perfectly. I might not be a fan of how they led up to it, but I love how that scene culminated and ended right there with him bashing folks' head in. Because to me, that was the perfect way to end. That was the perfect way to do that in front of everybody. Let the world see. The world is watching. Your Captain America is out here bashing in people's skulls with the with the shield. And shout out to Marvel, because if we was watching the Amazon series, we would have seen this. We would have seen that shit. Like we would have seen the shield going to my man's chest or head, wherever he hit him at. Man, it took him to a dark place. And you got to question. We're in episode 5. I personally thought that this fight, when he would cross the line, maybe would come in episode 5 or 6. So now we got to question how Sam is going to get the shield back. Are they just going to take the shield from John Walker after this? Like, are they just going to take the shield from John Walker after this? Yeah, that's a possibility to me, that they take the shield away from John Walker, and that's how, whether Sam and Bucky going to go steal the shield or what have you. I think that's what happens. I think that they're still going to try to get Sam. I think Sam is going to meet with Carly one more time, and they're going to talk about it. Uh, because honestly, Flag Smasher. John Walker is Flag Smasher's nightmare. Flag Smasher. That's the last thing that she wanted to see, was John Walker with Super Soldier Serum. Somebody who is going to cross the line, not have the right ideals. Now he has a Super Soldier Serum, so he's strong, and he is. Didn't he seem to be a bit stronger than others too? He seemed to just be a bit stronger than others. But yeah, it's just, to me, we're coming into a wrap before we head into the final round here. Like I said, this episode gets an 8 for me. It could have been. I can understand 8.5s. I just can't give it a 9 or a 10. But just because of the action. That's just me. Just because of the action. But yeah, it's just, I love the way that the episode ended. I just felt like it could have been a much grander way for them to get there. They dropped some opportunities to really blow people away. But if folks are blown away, if you're blown away, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna knock your opinion. That's how you feel. This is just how I feel. Like, it was just an 8. Maybe my expectations. I said in the preview yesterday, I was expecting to see a lot of action. I was expecting to see a lot of things go down. Like, so we did get some fighting, but it wasn't your spectacle that we got in episode 2, where we where we got them flying off. But then one last thing before we get to the final round, Sam held his weight in this episode, fighting all of those super soldiers. He shows that he doesn't need the serum to hold his weight against these super soldiers. So I'm looking forward to that fight that we're going to see between Sam. I think Sam, at the end of the day, I think Sam is going to try to save Carly's life. When she's going to be fighting, I think Carly's going to end up fighting John Walker, and I think he's going to end up trying to save Carly's life. That's how we get that little epic infight scene between him and John Walker. But yeah, one just got to figure out how he's going to get this shield. Maybe if John Walker loses the shield, John Walker's like, yeah, I can fight Carly. I can solve all of this, and they can make me Captain America again. Who knows what's going to be going on in that lunatic head of his? But yeah, let me get out here to the final round. 3, 2, 1. We in the final round now. Let me hop into the comments. What's up, What's up, Trinity? Thanks for dropping in here, man. Carly is a simple, one-dimensional character. I can see that take because they're not. Here's my other thing with that. I was a bit confused because one-dimensional would have been good for her to be one-dimensional, and just be a revolutionary. That's all she is. That would be cool to me. Just to be. I mean, because honestly, if revolutionaries do kind of seem to be one-dimensional in a way, is that they got where they feel slighted. You can somewhat understand it, and now they're going to go do whatever they have to do to get their point across. So I definitely see that. But at the other hand, I felt like they downplayed Carly in this episode. Like when Sam went to go talk to Carly, and he was able to like kind of talk her off the ledge that she was on, kind of talking her into being nonviolent. It's like, is that really all it took? Is that just that small conversation? Because that conversation, Sam wasn't saying that much deep shit in that conversation. I could have had that conversation with Carly. Like, to be real, he wasn't saying anything that deep, So like, the fact that Carly was so easily swayed, and she was already like, "Don't try to pander to me like that. Don't try to talk down to me or be condescending." But that's exactly what Sam did, and she fell right into it. It sounded like a teenager and being, kind of talked out of it, kind of talked out of the way she is. So yeah, she is. I can definitely see that take that she is one dimensional. I was just thrown off just by how they treated her in her conversation with Sam, to kind of have him be able to talk her off the ledge that she was on. I just kind of found that a little weird. Also, Trinity again. Steve specifically said that he didn't want to kill anyone. John and Lamar were talking about what they could have done. Lamar gave John the okay through a hypothetical situation that John was pondering. Are you talking about the okay to take the serum? Yeah, he did. He gave them that. And are you talking about giving him the okay to kill the Flag Smashers? Or are you talking about giving him the okay to take the serum? Let me know. But I'll talk about both here. If we talk about giving him the okay to take the serum, I definitely think so, because he is talking about, in that conversation, there's a good point that they're talking about who they would have killed somebody in order to be able to save those people in Afghanistan. I definitely agree with that there. That's something that we see, and I think that's something that would have been done by John Walker if he had the serum. He would have killed somebody there, and that's something that Steve wouldn't have done. Even though Steve, I'm not gonna act like Steve's a saint. Steve has had to have some bodies, whether purposely or not. Steve has had some bodies, but yeah, the serum, taking the serum, yeah. Okay, I see you, Trinity. So yeah, when it comes to the hypothetical to give him the okay to take the serum, that was for sure. And I just think Lamar was just wrong in that instance. I don't think Lamar would have envisioned John Walker doing what he did, because to me, Lamar had faith in John Walker. Like, that was his dude, that was his buddy. And I don't, after seeing what the Flag Smashers are, and I think after seeing how concerned Lamar may have been with the Super Soldier Serum and the Flag Smashers being out there the way they were, Lamar definitely thought that John was going to make the right decisions when he had that Super Soldier Serum in him. Because they were sitting there talking through it. They was like, well, look what it did to Carly. Look what it did to Steve. They're saying it turned Carly into a radical that's going to bomb the GRC. And it turned Steve into a man who was just the most noble man in MCU history. It's what they made it seem like. And Lamar was telling him, you be more like Steve because you make the right decisions. But we see that he didn't. And, you can't fault my man because my man's just human. Carly punched the mess out of Battlestar and made him die like that. Like, I felt like it'd take a bit more for Battlestar to die. But it is what it is there. So, he made I think he made the wrong move. If anybody should have got the Super Soldier Serum, it should have been Sam. Not saying I would like to see him have it, but Sam, anybody who doesn't want the serum should get the serum. That's just straight up. Sam should have had it. But we see from Rip that when he's thinking about taking the serum, when he's like, "Yo, I got beat up and they weren't even super soldiers," we see that he shouldn't even have the serum, and we knew that from day one of seeing his smug ass face that he shouldn't have gotten the serum. But it is what it is, and am I a little disappointed that we didn't get to see him wrestle with taking the serum? That we just got to see him pop up and be strong? Maybe so, but I still can't complain with how they introduced his strength. I think that was cool to see how they introduced his strength and how he seemed to just be overtaking these folks, and that makes sense because as even though as much as what they're doing, as much as they're doing everything that they're doing, the flag smashers are. These aren't combat folks, people. These are people with super soldier serum who kind of know how to fight. When we're looking at John Walker was already powerful enough to kind of put up somewhat of a fight with these people when they have the serum. Now that they don't have this, now that they're on the equal playing field, John Walker can go in on these people. And I don't know, it just seemed like his serum could have been a bit stronger. It seemed like he could have been a bit stronger than the other folks, but was he though? I mean, maybe he's just more experienced and just had better use of it in a sense, and was able to get in better hits. And he also has a vibranium shield. I think it's vibranium. You actually liked Hoskins. I did too. I did. I actually liked Hoskins as well. Um, yeah, I actually liked what Hoskins was kind of turning into. In episode two, I wasn't a fan of Hoskins. And I think that's what they intended for everybody to feel like. I didn't like the way he was like, I'm Battlestar. Like, I would have been like Bucky and got out the car too, to be honest. But what they did with Hoskins in this episode, the way he was talking the way he was talking to my man John Walker, he was trying to be a voice of reason to John Walker. I think he is kind of more on the camp of Sam being let's find a peaceful solution to this. Let's find a peaceful solution. Leveling the playing field is always suggested. Is it not though? Even looking at baseball, like everybody else started taking steroids in baseball because they wanted to level the playing field because everybody else was doing it. And that's exactly what happened with John Walker here. He's like, everybody else is hitting home runs and I'm getting my ass beat. Let me go ahead and take this to level the playing field. And that's what they did. At the end of the day, whether Lamar gave him the go ahead or not, once he picked up that vial, we knew what was going to happen. We knew he was going to take it. And I was like, it's just brilliant because, I mean, you see how it's going to happen. Zemo is destroying all those vials. And I'm like, dang, is he really... At first I thought Zemo was picking it up and he was going to keep one. I never thought for 1 second he was going to take one. But I thought Zemo was going to keep one to keep it in the stash and to keep it for later. But he just destroyed them all, and that caught me off guard. Until we see that one convenient one that was a few steps away from Zemo, and, he knocks out Zemo and takes it. And doesn't tell nobody. So I wonder if the government knows that he took the serum. Like he said, he's kind of doing. He said he's willing to do whatever it takes. He's like, the government won't care as long as it's taken care of. They won't care how it's done. I wonder if they know that he has the serum. So it kind of knocks out the theory too that he gets. Technically, he gets it from Power Broker, but he doesn't. So that knocks out my theory there. He is. Well, actually, was Lance Armstrong? Was he taking the? Was he taking the serum because? I mean, was he taking steroids because everybody else was taking steroids? Because I mean, I don't know. It's Tour de France. It's that biking. I'm not that hip to that. Like, I don't know if anybody else was taking the steroids at that time. But yeah, he is. He is Lance Armstrong. Okay, we go with Mark McGuire. Is John Walker basically Mark McGuire? The Flag Smashers are Barry Bonds, and and Bucky is Hank Aaron, the guy who they're just trying to chase. Like, is that what we're looking at here? Well, Hank Aaron didn't have no super soldier serum in him, and Bucky has the serum in him. I just threw that out there because they're trying to chase Bucky. But yeah, is that adequate enough for you, Trinity? Can John Walker be Mark McGuire, and then we'll let them others be who's gonna be Jose Canseco? Who's gonna be the one to tell? But yeah, that's a good one, Lance Armstrong. But yeah, but look, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, that's all the thoughts I really have on it right now. I'm definitely gonna go back and rewatch it again before we get into Saturday's stream, when I'm gonna take folks out into the training ground and we're gonna go over things. Just wanted to kind of get a feel out here. I had opportunities. My first day off on a Friday like this, so I had an opportunity to get a stream out here today. So that's just what I wanted to do. So yeah, Let me know what you guys think in the comments in the section below when you're watching a replay, what have you. Look, thank you for stopping by. I am your Normie Sensei, Master Kunch. We're gonna come to a close here. Thank you for stopping by the dojo. Um, Come back tomorrow. I'll post on the community tab when we're gonna go live here. But thank you all for stopping by. And like I say all the time, let's enjoy our content. Go back and watch episode 4. Let's enjoy our content, get the most out of it. That's what I want folks to do here, Normies and Nerds. As we take that path to turn normies into nerds, you can fire out these theories kind of like I am here. That's what we're doing here, man. So look, I am Master Country, here, Normies to Nerds, your Normie Sensei. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.